Today we are going to see one more scenario, and the scenario and mostly the troubleshooting part today we are going to see. So let's see. The title is Fix the Broken Redis Deployment in the Kubernetes Real World Troubleshooting Guide. So what is the scenario in detail? Let's see. The DevOps team deployed the Redis app on the Kubernetes cluster, which was working fine so far. This morning, one of the team member was making some changes in the existing setup, but he made some mistake and the app went down. We need to fix it as soon as possible. Please take a look. The deployment name is Redis deployment and pod are not running a state right now. So please look into this issue and fix this. Suppose this scenario we got in the production and production we need to fix as soon as possible because we have the live traffic. And so first, how we are going to proceed this troubleshooting. So first we need to get the deployment. So we got the deployment at showing the pod 0 by 1 means so one pod and which are not running. Then we can see the kubectl get pod. Then pod also it's showing the 0 by 1 a container creating a stance. So first command we need to run the describe the pod. So when we describe the pod, then come out the last at the event part. Then the event part it's showing that volume mount setup fail for volume config map redis config not found. It means if whenever is going to mount the config map, then this config map is not finding. So let's first check the what all the config map we have in the clusters. So kubectl get config map. Then we can see we have the one default config map and one is for this app. So if you notice down the config map here name is and here name not matching means here redis CONF is missing. Here if you see CONFIG. So config map name is the incorrect. So we need to edit the deployment and we need to correct this config map name in the deployment. Then again we need to see the deployment. Still it's showing the 0 by 1 and poda it's showing again the second port created is given the error. Second error the image pullback. So again, we need to describe the pod and we need to come down the event part. So in event part, it's showing that it's trying to pull the Redis plane in this image, but it's not able to pull, it's giving the error. So if you notice, there is the miss spell here at the in the alpine, there is the n missing. So again, we need to edit it and we need to correct the image file. Then we'll be get the at last we'll be get our pod are in running a state and everything is fine. So what are the conclusion we got in the today learning? In this practical DevOps tutorial, learn how to troubleshoot and fix the broken Redis deployment on the Kubernetes cluster. Follow a real-world scenario where the misconfiguration caused the Redis app to go down and see how the identify and resolve the issue. Debugging a pod stuck in the container creating and the image pullback. This is the first point we have seen. Second point, analyze the kubectl describe and kubectl log output. This is the second things we have seen. Fixing the config map reference error, correcting the image name typo, and ensure successfully pod recover and service available. So let's see how we are going to fix this same thing in the production. So all the detail are given in the our blog and blog link I will be giving the resource part of this video. So let's go to our production cluster. So first command we need to run the kubectl get deploy. So we can see we have the one deployment and which are 0 by 1. It needs has some issue. So let's get the pod detail. Get pod. So we can see that it's in container creating a state. So For any troubleshooting basic things, we need to check the two command. First one is the describe and second one is the log. So let's first see the logs qctl logs and then pod name. From pod, it's just saying the waiting for a start container creating a state. So we have not get much information from the logs. So let's describe the pod. So we can see the it's showing the error config map. Uh, this is the config map which are not able to find when trying to mount this config map to the our application. So let's see what all the config map we have in the cluster kubectl get config map, or you can write the cm also. So we can see the our config map is name is the Redis CONF5G config. But here if you see CONF is missing, so we need to correct the config map name. So we need to edit the deployment. So let edit the our deployment. kubectl, or you can just remove and go above log. First we need to get the deployment name. So this is our deployment name. Copy the deployment name and then kubectl edit, then deploy, then we need to give the deployment name, press enter, go to the volume part. So we have the our volume mount above, and now here is the volume. So we need to correct this config map name con, then f is missing, go to edit mode, f, now save it, except colon wq. Now let's see the again the status kubectl get deploy. Still it not came up. So let's see the pod. Pod, it's if you see the second one is given the image pullback, means it's not able to pull the image. So let's describe with this one. kubectl describe pod, then pod name, press enter. So you can see that uh, it's giving the image pullback of error, trying to pull the Redis Alpine, but it failed to pull the Redis Alpine because Alpine spelling E is missing at the last. Means its spelling is not correct. So let's correct it. Again, edit the deployment. Go to the image part. Let's go to the image part. So here is the image. Go to edit mode and just add the E at the last. Now spelling of Alpine is correct. Now save it again. Save it. Now let's see the again the status of deployment and pod. So we can see now our application is running one by one. Let's see the status of pod now. So we can see the last one, our pod is also running. So in this way, we can troubleshoot our application into the Kubernetes cluster. Thank you and happy learning. See you in the next video.